Hello, interwebs. It is I, Hewlett, David Hewlett, and I'm back with another I'm with Stargate Genius for you, and I've got a treat. It is a treat today. I had a joy of a chat. I talked to my friend Neta Palkovitz, and she is a space lawyer with an eye towards sustainability. How do we get these satellites up there and keep them up there and be able to update them and refuel them and make them more than just a sort of the way we it's almost like driving a car, running out of fuel and then just abandoning it. That's the way things are right now. We've got to make this more sustainable. Otherwise, it's just not going to be possible to keep doing this stuff. So she is working on the legal side of that, but it isn't just the law we're talking about. We're talking about all sorts of space related stuff, also life related stuff. She's got this wonderful thing called Seeds and the City, which you should check out on Instagram. It's seeds underscore and underscore the underscore city. And it is her adventures doing the growing of vegetables and fruits and tulips, and it's just these gorgeous pictures and a wonderful promotion of growing your own food and having these delicious things to eat that you've actually planted and nurtured yourself. Just wonderful thing for a mom to be doing, for anyone to be doing, but just a nice thing to sort of introduce the kids to as well. So just absolute pleasure talking to Neta today. Before I get into it, I will say, please, can you like, subscribe, and comment, because that will help our podcast become more podcasty. And if you could also head on over to techbandits.org, and I have a Patreon over there. Anything that you could help with that would be much appreciated. I'd like to keep doing these forever. And also, there's some merch over there if you want some like some Stargate inspired stuff. So please head on over there. Anything you can do to help would be much appreciated. And also, obviously, go check out Neta at Seeds and the City on Instagram. You'll love what she's doing there. And let's get into it. We've got an I'm with Stargate Genius. We're talking to Neta Palkovitz about space law and sustainability. Bring it on. Neta, thank you so much for doing this. I'm going to confess to everyone right off the bat that I totally screwed up on the time on this. So you are already the kindest person ever, because I would have walked away. I'm like 15 minutes. I got all
See,
confused.
no one would believe it anyway, but fine.
So Neta, this is a weird combination for me. Because first off, space law is something that was new to me anyways. I didn't even realize that was a possibility. But space law and sustainability, you're covering a lot of bases here. Do you want to let people know who you are and sort of what you're up to?
Sure. And I'm going to explain why it goes so well together.
Okay. Yeah.
But so I'm Neta. I have a PhD in space law from Leiden University.
Lovely Leiden.
Lovely Leiden.
Oh my
indeed.
God, what a great place.
Indeed. Yeah, it was nice, huh?
Yeah, it really was. Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I want to live there.
I've been enjoying it for a while now as well.
Yeah.
Many years. But I actually started as a commercial lawyer. So I have a very strong expertise in commercial law and in international law because of space law. That's basically one branch of international law.
Is that not normally what happens? The people aren't normally lawyers and then become space lawyers. People will just go straight into space law or something normally, or
yeah. So it's not exact science. There are many ways to do it.
Right.
I came already as a lawyer to Leiden, and I started to basically learn space law to become an expert in that field. And I also continued, did a PhD and published a lot during the years. So I was also, a scholar, let's say. But I have been working for the space industry for many, many years now. And I think that's my happy place. Because I did academia too, and I love teaching. I absolutely love teaching. I love thinking together with the students. It is creative as well. I really love it. But I sort of, what can I say? I'm a bit of an action junkie, so I do need to have something which is, maybe a bit more dynamic and kind of happening.
It's funny though, because I mean, the space law side of stuff is the thing that really struck me about it was that it's basically science fiction. I mean, or at least speculative science. Like you have to look forward to things that haven't happened yet to stop them from happening and to see what would happen if they did happen, you know?
Yeah. But I think that is actually not unique to space law. When you're a lawyer, that is basically what you do.
Interesting.
You have to sort of foresee what will happen. And unfortunately, you end up not thinking about the nice thing that might happen. You sort of more oriented towards thinking, yeah, okay, how this can go bad.
Horribly wrong.
Yeah, how this can go totally, yeah, in a wrong way.
So do you
So
never leave the house now? Is that like basically you don't do anything for fear that there's, there could be,
no,
evil?
thank God I'm not that. Yeah, I mean, it also comes, I think, when you've been a lawyer for so many years,
Mm,
you sort of know to do that while you're working, but not necessarily take it with you
yeah.
later. I mean, at
My
least
wife
that's what
gave me
I'm trying to
15.
do. I hope I'm going to keep on succeeding with that, because this is the exercise
Mm,
basically.
mm,
If I write a contract, right, I draft a contract and then I need to negotiate it with another party,
mm,
right, and the other party comes back and they say, okay, but what are we going to do if this happens, what are we going to do if that happens? And
mm.
this is, of course, a nice way to describe how
Right,
it goes, right?
right.
um, and then, yeah, you sort of need to have it in your head, all sorts of different scenarios. This
Mm,
might happen, that might happen, the other thing might happen, okay. And for each one, it's like a branching thing. You need to understand, okay, we can either do this, we can solve it that way, we can solve it another way. So this is sort of a part of just being a commercial lawyer, I would say.
mm. And can you put that away at night? I mean, can you come home and can you turn that side of your brain off?
I really try. I
Yeah.
really try.
It's
This
hard,
is
isn't it?
why I do
Yeah.
so much gardening, basically.
Yeah, that was so surprising to me because I went to see your Instagram and I'm now following you and I'm
Yeah.
trying to be a cool Instagrammer now. The only way I can communicate with my son now is in this Instagram chat thing, and it's just oh god, I feel like such an old man. But so the gardening that come as a way of, because this is where all the sustainability stuff comes from as well, right? I mean, is that
Well, it's a big part of it, yeah.
yeah?
I'm
But that,
very committed to that also in my personal life, not only at work. Yeah.
my wife is really pushing for green and sustainable practices in the film and TV industry because of I think the same kind of things where she's just seeing like the huge amounts of waste and and pollution and destruction of the planet just to make a movie, and there's just so many things that can be done to fix that. How are you addressing sustainability? Are you looking at this from a legal perspective as well as the garden?
Well, yeah, so there are two different things. With the garden, it actually didn't start as a big, protest towards unhealthy practices, let's call it.
Right,
It
right.
just started because, yeah, I couldn't find a decent cucumber in the supermarket, honestly. I was very annoyed.
The search
Like,
for a
you've
good
been in the
cucumber. Okay.
Netherlands, so you know how, I don't know if you've seen, if you went to a supermarket,
Yeah.
like they don't have the normal, well, now you kind of have it.
Mm.
Back then you had only these like huge Dutch cucumbers
That's
that
what
are
we
very
do. We have
watery,
just the big ones. I don't know what's with that.
and it's not good. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Like, it's
Yeah.
not a,
It's
if you look at it as a
watery and
product, like
tasteless.
it's not
Yeah.
a good product. It's
Yeah, I
not,
agree.
yeah, I don't like it. So
Yeah.
I said, like, okay, I understand that unless I grow it myself, I will not have it. And I did not want to live in a world without a good
Right.
cucumber. And I thought, like, okay, how hard can it be?
Right.
Let's try.
Right.
And since then, I've been doing it, for so many years. And the thing is, um, yeah, at a certain point, I just found out, like, it gives me a lot of joy
Mm.
and peace.
Mm.
And then I can put all that lawyery thing on the side
Yeah.
and say, okay, well, I don't need to think, okay, what am I going to do if this goes wrong? What am I doing? No, and you cannot control it. That's the best thing.
Mm.
Like, you have the weather,
Yeah.
and maybe a bird comes and eats your seeds,
Yeah.
or
Oh, those damn squirrels.
bugs,
The
or
squirrels, the ones for
you
me.
have,
Yeah.
well, we don't really have squirrels here, but
Oh, well, you're
you
lucky.
guys in Canada, you have
Yeah.
many.
Yeah.
So, like, and you cannot control it. It's not something you can prevent, and
Mm.
it's not something you can think of to prevent. So
Mm.
this is why I absolutely love it. It's
There's
totally
a
different,
zen kind of like you've
and I
got to
feel
be at
like a
one.
balanced human being after I do both, and
Right.
then it's all good. Yeah.
And the weather in the Netherlands where you are you gardening all year, or is it does it sort of freeze over? I mean, can you get a garden going the entire year?
Well, in the winter, it's yeah, you take a little break, let's
It's pretty
say.
cold. Okay, all right,
When it's
okay, all
when
right.
it's freezing, yeah, there's only so much you can do.
Oh, okay, so you do get it does get that cold that
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
okay, all right, yeah.
it gets cold.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because we've only got. I mean, there's only a. I feel like we get less and less of the growing season here because it's as soon as that winter hits, it's just frozen solid. So
yeah.
Toronto.
No, but Canada is, I think,
All right,
is,
so go back. So you start what I guess I would call traditional law. Is that fair enough?
yeah.
And you were enjoying that, and then got distracted by this spacey stuff, or was it always
No,
a
not
goal? How did it
really.
work?
Like I tend not to get distracted in life in general.
Right, right.
I'm a
That's
very
all I do. I
goal-driven
just get distracted.
person,
That's
believe
we're
it or
the
not.
opposite. Yeah.
Yeah. No, no. So already when I was studying for my bachelor's, I did this moot court competition. It's called Jessup, and it's like sort of a lawyer's Olympics.
Oh
It's like
wow.
it's huge. It's huge. You go to Washington, and it's people from all over the world, and
Oh
you have
wow.
to sort of represent like a fake country
Oh
in a
wow.
fake kind of made up sort of litigation situation, a
So what
dispute.
did you do? What did you do for that?
Oh wow, that was so many years ago. I had to deal with state succession, which is something pretty particular.
Yeah.
Like when a state dissolves and
Right.
new states are born.
Oh wow.
Apparently, there is a succession process, which is legal under international law. So, this is like one of the most interesting things. But because of that, I
Hmm.
had to pick up many books
Hmm.
in the library and sort of study to understand what it is, because it's not like a standard topic
Yeah.
you would
Who's
learn
who's
anyway.
how often does it happen? I mean,
Well, not much.
yeah.
But then, because I was already like in the neighborhood and there were a lot of exotic international law books, I found one which had a chapter about space law. And I thought, like, oh, wow, that sounds so interesting. And I started reading it and, Googling and whatever. And I thought to myself, okay, well, I'm going to become a lawyer. I'll do whatever, is needed. And maybe later I can pursue it somewhere abroad. So, and I did at the end.
That's so funny because Deepika, who we spoke to about space law before, had the same thing where she found this. She was, I think she was, I think it was that was the first experience with law for her. I think was a book on space law. And she's like, space law, and that,
Yeah.
I wonder if it's the same book. There can't be an awful lot of, well, there probably are more now, but certainly
Yeah, no, they're
it's a
more
fairly
now.
recent thing, is it not?
No, not that recent.
Is it
People
not?
tend to think it's like something very new and innovative, and
Yeah.
actually, it's not. It's been around since the 60s.
I guess it sort of had to, hasn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
wow. Yeah. I didn't even think of that. And
yeah.
so, what was the book? What was the book? Like, was it that fascinated you about the book?
Well, I had no idea. Like, there are international treaties about space, and
Yeah.
when you read them, they look a bit funny because normal treaties, they have a certain length, a certain number of articles, a certain detail, and these were like very short
Mm.
and very abstract, and everything was for the better of humankind and for peaceful purposes and I was like, whoa, what is this?
Yeah.
So it was really interesting. Just, it kept me super interested, and I thought, like, okay, I will investigate more into that. But at that time, that was, yeah, 20 years ago. uh,
Don't even start with me. You don't. You got nothing on me.
well, I know, but still, when it happens to you, you
Yeah.
think, oh my
It
god,
happens to all of
years.
us. Yeah. Yeah. Eventually. Yeah.
um, yeah, but at that time, also the industry looked totally different. Like, you
Mhm.
cannot compare it to what's
Yeah.
happening now. And at that time, I had no idea I can actually use all my skills from the
Mm.
commercial law in the space law environment. I had absolutely no idea. This
Is
is
that because it
something
was
that
all because it was mainly government at that point? They were mainly government organizations doing the space
yeah,
stuff.
it
Yeah.
was much more governmental. There were maybe a few of these big dinosaurs out there, which were, yeah, sort of private, semi-private, depends when and how you define it exactly.
Hmm.
But it was really not what it is today.
Yeah.
We had in the beginning of the 2000s, something that is now called new space. So
Mm.
it's not that new anymore, but we still
Right.
use that terminology. And that started with something very modest, which made a huge revolution. And that's the CubeSats.
Oh
Small
yeah.
satellites, which were standardized, that came from university, not from industry.
Mm.
And at first, people thought, okay, well, it can't be serious. What can
It's
you possibly
toys.
do with it?
Yeah.
It's like a
Yeah.
toy, it's like a joke, it's like something for students, like, fine, whatever. Um, but yeah, I mean,
I-
fast forward
yeah. Yeah.
10 years later, yeah, it is a technology that really opened this exclusive space club to many more
Hmm.
stakeholders. So now we have so many more private entities doing space. And I think that was really what opened the gates.
Hmm.
And this is why I also wrote my PhD about specifically how to regulate that technology. I
Hmm.
worked with that technology. I was involved in the launch of like 600 of the satellites,
Wow.
which is insane. Like, who would have thought you will reach these numbers
Yeah.
back then? So it was really super interesting and super dynamic time to be there. So I'm
Mm.
very grateful for that period. And I really feel like I was there, like I was really the right person for the
Yeah.
right time with the right topic. So that was, yeah, really
Wow.
great
I mean,
to see and
literally on the
inspiring as well.
you were like right on that cusp because it was just I didn't realize it was the CubeSats that did that, but there was definitely a shift from a very sort of slow
Yeah,
governmental process to these dynamic new businesses. So
yeah,
you got to take that book that you saw that had all these sort of vague ideas and start making them more concrete. With
exactly.
that's fantastic.
And
Oh my
sort of
God, that feels so
translating it
good.
to practice, seeing how it can really work or sometimes not
Yeah.
very well, things as such. But the interesting thing is that back then we were, as industry or community, because many times you refer to it as a community, space community, let's say, is not that big at the end of the day, right?
Hmm.
And especially with the small satellites, it was really viewed more like a community rather than an industry with,
Right.
you
Right.
know. But the focus there was to really see how, what can we do with it? How many can we launch? Can we have these huge constellations and make it cheaper and
Mm.
easier to use and faster for sure?
Mm.
And that happened, I think, in a way which was yeah, better than expected.
Mm.
And the negative side of that is regulators started to feel a bit, let's say, uneasy because, well, you started with a situation where it was mostly states that were
Mm.
launching satellites,
Mm.
and you got to a stage where, you know, just private entities were all of a sudden launching satellites, and quite a
Mm.
lot also.
You're right.
And, well, of course, that according to the treaties and international law and sometimes national laws as well, um, whoever, like whichever entity it is, they have to seek permission from their government in
Right.
order to launch something to outer space, because the government, the states, are the direct subject of international law.
Right.
International law doesn't apply to you and me as like just individuals,
Mm.
or just companies. It's really a state level kind of game.
Right. Okay.
So there was always, a need to involve the government, but this is why also the governments, the regulators became a bit, again, uneasy and said, okay, well, space was pretty, free. People knew, okay, there are certain countries that have space assets and so on, certain orbits that are more interesting than other orbits. Um, and now we're at a place where there are really a lot new space objects,
Mm-hmm.
especially in low Earth orbit,
Right.
which is a bit less regulated than what the geosynchronous orbit.
Really?
A tiny bit, because, well, and it's because of physics, by the way. It has like a scientific rationale,
Right.
not because of somebody's random idea.
Mm.
So the whole idea with the geostationary orbit is, of course, that if you put the satellite there, it sort of moves, it
With the
orbits
Earth.
kind of
Yeah.
with the Earth,
Yeah.
and then it's very easy to do
Mm.
communications.
I think Arthur C. Clarke was the first one to come up with it, wasn't he? So there was the science fiction writer. Yeah.
Maybe.
I could be wrong. That's I knew it was. I know it is a science fiction writer who came up with the concept originally, I think.
Yeah, well, that obviously is true, and it works very well.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, yeah.
And it gives us telecom for many years.
Right.
But because of that, physical, let's say, characteristic of that orbit, you need to apply for a certain orbital slot, not
Right.
only radio frequencies.
Right.
But when you're in low Earth orbit or any other orbit, for that matter, things behave very differently. An object in low Earth orbit orbits the Earth much, 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 much faster
Right.
than the rotation of the Earth. And due to the dynamics there, you cannot find a box that somebody needs to sort of insert their satellite in, and it will keep on the same way. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
Yeah. So this is why I would say LEO is a tiny bit less regulated, but again, it's more because of the orbital dynamic than anything else.
Right.
But the thing is, because low Earth orbit became very popular all of a sudden, and it's populated with many more.
Is that like Starlink and stuff? Is that low Earth orbit?
Yeah, I think Starlink is also more. Yeah. So, well, you have some applications also in what we call MEO, like the medium, that's more GPS and so on.
Oh, okay.
But the thing is, it became super congested.
Right.
Or what we call super congested. So it's still like space, as somebody told me, space is very big.
It's very big. It's true.
It's very big.
Yeah.
So when you say congested, well, it's not super it's not congested like you would think. Okay, no, it's not that kind of congestion.
It's not. It's not a traffic jam. Yeah.
There's still a lot of space in space.
Right. But it's still fine. It's finite.
Exactly. But the issue is that if we keep on launching things more and more and more and more, but we sort of don't pay attention to how they come back, in the case of LEO, we're going to have a problem because, well, things will just stay there. Yeah. And when things stay there and maybe they're already very old and you can't control them, maybe they don't have some sort of propulsion system and so on. Then it becomes a concern, and mostly a safety concern.
It's just an obstacle out there, really.
Yeah.
That could drop out of the sky, I suppose, as well.
Yeah. Now, if it drops from the sky, again, most satellites
are going to burn up.
They can burn up, and that's fine. There are other things that don't burn up. It really depends on the material and all sorts of other things. But most satellites are being basically designed to just
And is that the sustainability? Is that where the sustainability kicks in? Like, how do we do this and be able to maintain this? So when you look at a map of the Earth, there's so much stuff in orbit around it. It seems almost like it always reminds me of like Pigpen from the Snoopy cartoon. It's the guy with all the stuff, all the sort of the dirt all around him all the time. It seems like that's what we've done to our planet.
Well, yeah, and again, when you think about sustainability, some people think about I don't know, hugging a tree and so on. So no. In space, it's not about that.
Right. Not a lot of trees to hug in space. It's true. It's true.
But it's mostly about keeping it safe and keeping it as it is for future generations to use it. Okay? So we don't want to ruin what's already there or not there because it's vacuum, but fine.
Right. Yeah, but the open spaces, as well.
Yeah. So then it's sort of, this is where the sustainability comes into place, and now it's one of the, I would say, hottest topics in space law, but also space industry, of course. And there are many innovative solutions around that, because it is clear that we cannot just continue
Yeah.
doing it the way we're doing it now. We don't want to see like a lot of collisions. Collisions are bad.
Mm.
They're bad because of what is called the Kessler syndrome.
Yeah. Well, that's
It's
Gravity, isn't it? The
basically,
whole movie Gravity was about that happening,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, basically, because once something collides with something else, you have all these like residues and little particles of stuff that fly
Yeah.
everywhere, and you cannot trace them and you cannot clean them up because,
Mm.
well, it's up there.
Yeah.
So then we have a problem, and these little pieces collide with something else, and
Mm.
it's sort of this chain reaction
Yeah.
you sort of want to avoid
Kind of
altogether.
horrific, isn't it? That it
Yeah,
just seems like we're like on eggshells with that. Yeah.
yeah.
Did the
So
sustainability, sorry, just to go back to your sustainability thing, did was the law driving the sustainability, or was sustainability driving the laws?
it's a very interesting question. Well, I think like in every other regulatory process, and the same in this case, it's many things that sort of come together
Mm.
and something sort of crystallizes at the end.
Mm.
Because, well, you can be very cynical and say, yeah, but the industry doesn't care about sustainability. They just want to sell
Right.
hardware and launch it,
Yeah.
and that's it. They don't really care. And well, I think it's not true because,
Mm.
well, first of all, people do care.
Yeah.
And second of all, if we're getting into a situation where we cannot safely operate satellites in LEO because there are collisions all the time,
Yeah.
insurers will not insure it anymore. We
They're
have a
out of
huge
business.
problem
Yeah.
because one of the things that the governments need from you as an entrepreneur in this situation is to have insurance against third party liability damage. So, the
Right.
same as you would have with your car, if God forbid there's an accident, something
Mm.
collides with something, like they want to see that somebody can cover the cost.
Right. Right.
So, yeah. And
Wow.
and this is more tied to the international law part of it because
Mm.
of what we have in the space treaties. But the commercial and practical implementation is to get that sort of
Right.
insurance policy, right? So it's also tied up to that. But if
Mm.
you're in a situation where, again, it's so bad that it's not reliable anymore,
Mm.
it costs a lot of money. Maybe the insurance market sees it's too risky and they think, yeah, we don't want to take that risk. We don't want to insure it anymore. Then you have a problem, a real
Right.
problem.
Yeah. You don't have a business anymore,
Yeah, exactly.
basically. Yeah.
So it is basically very bad for business. And of course, if you end up in a situation where, yeah, a group or one country or, I don't know, a union just says, well, you know what? We don't want you to launch anything anymore.
Mm.
Yeah, nobody wants to see something like that. Nobody wants that.
Right.
So the main focus now is, okay, how can we improve? What are the best practices?
Mm.
And one of the things that we see as a regulatory trend, which I think is very interesting, is to first of all acknowledge that maneuverability, um, yeah, is very important.
It's important.
Because how would you avoid a collision if you
Mm.
cannot maneuver your satellite away from
Mm.
whatever other object is there?
And
And
that
for,
wasn't a consideration earlier on.
well, it was, but it came to be consideration again only after everybody realized there is a problem here.
Right. Right.
If you look at the treaties from the 60s, there's nothing there about um, yeah, space debris mitigation
Yeah.
because it was not a problem in the 60s.
Right.
There
Right.
were barely anything,
Mm.
there.
But look
So
how quickly it has become a problem. I mean, that's I guess that's why you need to jump on this stuff now, because it's only going to
exactly,
get, worse.
exactly.
So,
So this is why it's super interesting, and this is why now, for instance, there is I think one of the biggest things which is going on right now in the field is
mm,
the proposed EU Space Act, which is
right.
super interesting. It's a very elaborate piece of law.
Hmm.
Um, and it basically says in one of its articles, 73,
Nerd.
I don't want to
Small
say
nerd.
I memorized the whole thing by
right,
heart because that would be insane. So
right,
definitely did not.
right,
But Article 73,
right.
David, tells you that if you are launching a constellation, each one of your satellites must have a propulsion system.
Right, right. And but that's only for constellations, so you could still send up a CubeSat without any need for that.
Yes and no.
Hmm.
So Article 73 specifically was super, super, super clear about the fact that if it's a constellation, you
Right.
have to have a propulsion system.
So when the next Starlink goes up, it's going to have to be able to move itself around. I see. Okay.
The
All right.
next European Starlink, let's say.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Got it.
Yeah. And again, it's important to say, and again, that's the lawyer in me, that this document is not final. There's still negotiations going on around it, and it will not come into force for 5 more years.
But it seems unlikely that people would have a problem with that, right? I mean, it doesn't take much to move a satellite once it's up there, right? Does it?
Well, no, it doesn't. But if your default was launching something without any maneuverability,
it's still more than
abilities, then by default you need to do more than you would have done otherwise.
Could they do like what they did with the CubeSats, like standardize something that they all just latch this thing onto their?
Yeah. So the company I work for, Dawn Aerospace, one of the things we did to take care of that problem is to make something which we call the Cube Drive.
Oh,
super cute, I think, is the name.
That's great. I love it. Cube Drive.
And and it's a 0.8 cube, so it's not even a 1U kind of thing. And that's like almost a plug and play, basically.
And that handles all of the maneuverability you need to pass.
Exactly.
That's great. Exactly. Oh my God.
So that is now possible also for like the small satellites, because small satellites, it's a whole range. And of course, we have like solutions for bigger satellites and so on. So so the point is like now there are definitely solutions for that.
Right.
But if we would do this like 10 years ago, there would be a huge piece of legislation which said to operators, okay, well, you have to have a propulsion system.
And they'd have to invent it.
We would have a problem because, it wasn't that common.
And it'd be prohibitive for a young company.
Reliable.
Right.
And it wasn't that cheap, maybe.
Right.
So now we're in a situation where I think the regulator sort of saw that, okay, technology-wise, it's good enough to ask for it. And this is what I mean when I say many things sort of come together. So it's the idea that comes together. It's the awareness to a certain problem, the state of a certain technology. And of course, there is some will or ideology or however you call it as well. Right. So sort of everything needs to come together to get this sort of provision in a law which is applicable for the entire European Union.
Did you get any pushback? I mean, was there any pushback from people about that requirement, or did everyone basically see the merits of it?
Well, it's rather new. So the first draft was published only on the 25th of June.
Oh my God. Oh, wow. It really is new.
Yeah,
okay.
It is new. And it's still under negotiation between the states and the European Commission and so on. So, I would not know exactly who did not like it and who did support it.
Right.
I know I definitely support it because I think it's just common sense.
I mean, it just seems, absolutely.
If you say, I want to, collisions must be avoided, how else are you going to do it?
And the fact that you've also got a solution as well is fantastic. I mean, that's, and I guess that's why is that why you work for these for a company like that, is so that you can sort of coordinate with what they're creating and what rules need to come into play around that?
Definitely. So Dawn Aerospace in general, it's a very cool company.
Of course it is. They've got you. I mean,
what can I say?
Yeah,
of course. It's only because they got me. No.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
No. They have really cool technology and it's very R&D heavy. So, it's fun. It's fun for me as well because it comes with more, interesting developments.
Right.
And then you have to think, okay, but how will that go with regulation and so on? So
Mm-hmm.
I love it because of that. But yeah, I mean, that was one of my main reasons to work there, honestly. Like when I started working with them, I had my own firm. So they were a client, and for a while there were ideas, okay, maybe I should come full time and so on. And honestly, yeah, the decision was easier because I knew I will be working on topics which I'm, very passionate about anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I knew there's going to be a very nice challenge there, and yeah, at the end of the day, it's about doing good, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's nice. It's a privilege to be able to do all of these things and still work in what you were sort of trained to do.
That's fantastic. How did you so you had your own company, they came to you and said we need, a couple of things done, and then that just became a relationship that led to the job. Wow.
Yeah,
Were you
basically.
working with other companies as well at the time?
Yeah, yeah. So when I had my own firm, I worked with many other companies as
Mm.
well. So yeah,
All
definitely
in this space, all dealing with space specifically.
only space. Yeah,
Only
only
space, yeah.
specifically space. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
And so what's the future of this look like? I mean, where do you see this? Where is this going? I mean, obviously, I guess this has got to be agreed upon by everybody. But what's the next thing for you? Do you think? Like, where are we going next with this stuff?
So the very sort of new and exciting thing which is going on, and it is also expressed in that EU regulation I mentioned,
Mm.
is everything which has to do with in-orbit servicing.
Mm. Huh.
That's going to be the next revolution, basically.
Hmm.
So at work now at Dawn Aerospace, what we're doing is now when we sell propulsion systems
Hmm.
from a certain size up, we sell them together with this adapter,
Hmm.
sort of say, and that makes the satellite using that propulsion system serviceable already.
Oh, wow.
Default, even
Like
if
in
nobody needs
situ,
it to
like
be
where they are.
serviceable. Exactly.
Wow.
So
Okay.
So things now, because of what we do, are going to space being serviceable.
Right.
And this is something which I think is a real game changer. And,
Mm.
and this is why I'm so excited about that particular part as well.
Yeah.
So the idea is to focus mostly about refueling,
Mm.
how to refuel, because again, we're talking about sustainability.
Mm.
And if on Earth it's very clear that you want to get rid of the disposable plastic cups,
Mm.
in space, it works totally different. Think about it for a sec. It's not a plane that you fuel each time it goes, it takes people, it comes back, and so on. No, no. It goes up with a certain final amount of fuel in the tank.
Mm.
It goes up there, and before the fuel is gone, you're supposed to deorbit it if it's in LEO, or
Mm.
go to a graveyard orbit, which is actually higher if you're in GEO.
Mm.
So it's out of the way, sort of.
Right.
And that's it, and you cannot use it anymore. And the tragedy is that it's not a simple plastic cup. It's
Mm.
something super expensive, super complicated, that
Mm.
people with such an expertise worked on. It's
Mm.
almost insane to say, well, okay, fuel is up, so we cannot
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
anything anymore.
It's like sort of driving a
Throw
car
it
until it runs out of
away
gas
and
and then
launch
just leaving it on the
another
side of the
one.
road. Yeah.
And every
Yeah.
time you launch another one, you need to make a new one, you need to
Yeah.
produce a new one. You use all the materials, you take all the energy, and then you have to launch it. Don't get me started. Like
Yeah.
launching something that's extremely polluting as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what we hope to do is to sort of at least make the situation better. Of course, sometimes you would not want to use a certain satellite for, yeah, I don't know, for how much many years, because
Mm-hmm.
okay, maybe sometimes technology advanced, you want a better payload and so on. That's
Right.
fine.
Right.
But for some applications, for instance, Earth observations,
Mm.
like the optical part
Yeah.
is so good at the moment, we
Yeah.
don't see it changing very dramatically.
Mm.
If people can just use their satellite longer because we refuel
Mm.
it,
Mm.
that should really, make a difference.
Mm.
That's
Well,
really a revolution.
well, then you've got, and also then you've got two satellites up instead of one. I mean, you can have you can have an upgrade, one that does something different, and then you use this to make sure the other one is continuing to do its job. That just makes. I mean, otherwise you're literally driving a car until it runs out of gas, then leaving it on the side of the road. I mean,
Yeah,
like it's
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
one of my colleagues from business development, he likes to call it driving a Ferrari to the desert,
yeah,
which is true
yeah.
essentially.
They're
Like,
expensive.
you
Yeah,
know, it's
yeah,
very expensive. You drive it,
yeah,
then it's empty, and huh, okay,
yeah.
it doesn't make sense anymore. And just think of the change that can happen there. Because
Mm,
again, if you were flying a plane and you know you can use it like only once or
mm,
only after the tank is empty,
mm,
how many people would fly?
mm,
Where would these flights go?
mm.
Would you take cargo with you? Would you
Right,
be able to take a suitcase, for instance? You know, think
right.
of these things. So it is built in a certain way, and
Mm,
it's very convenient. But once the possibility to
mm,
refuel it and to use it for longer, and also maneuver without regret, because
right.
the problem is sometimes operators, they need to make a difficult decision every time you maneuver, let's say to avoid a collision.
Mm. You're
When you
losing
get
a
a
bit of fuel.
proximity alert, exactly, you sort
Yeah.
of spend your fuel on this maneuver,
Mm.
which means you have less time to give service, right?
Right.
And you have a contract for that. So you want to be
Hmm.
able to operate and to use the satellite as a moneymaker, which is fine.
Mm,
This is why
mm.
it's there at the end of the
Right,
day,
right.
to give a service, right? Um, so this, I hope, would not be a real consideration in the future,
Right.
because you will be able to do whatever to maneuver it, how
Mm.
many times you need to maneuver it. Yeah, maybe
So,
zoom down, see certain things better if it's
mm,
Earth observation, go again up to another orbit because it's more efficient. Like, there's so
mm,
many things we can't even think about now, maybe.
mm,
But once the option is there, operators will have a lot more freedom.
mm.
And
Even being able to sort of just sort of tilt up and look at what's going on around it as opposed to just
exactly.
its what I mean, could you get to the point where, instead of launching separate cube satellites, you just take them up and put them in an existing satellite or something like that? I mean, is that how much, how fiddly can you get with this stuff? I mean, how much stuff can be done to these in orbit?
Well, specifically with CubeSats, you mean?
Well, I'm
Or
just thinking, like, if we're launching CubeSats
Mhm.
each individually, I'm assuming they've all got to have their own propulsion and their own power and all the rest of it. Is it not possible to put up a larger, almost like a rack that you
Mhm.
can just add them to, and then you'd have one big thing that you service as opposed to lots of these little ones? Or
Yeah, well, things like that, you sort of have these like service vehicles already that you
Mm.
can
Oh,
you can
you do? Oh,
always
wow. Okay.
you can like deploy. But
Right.
the point is, again, with something as small as a CubeSat,
Mm.
at the end of the day, also, I'm not sure in some cases, in most cases, actually, it would not be worth it to really refuel it and so on,
I see. Okay. Right.
because it will be maybe too difficult for the application.
Right. Okay. All right.
Unless technology changes, everything gets even smaller, and then you
Mm.
can do much more with a small CubeSat.
Right, right.
So
So they're
I don't.
basically made to be disposable at this point.
Well, I think right now with what people are doing with it, yeah, that technology, let's say, yeah, you cannot expect it will be functioning in orbit for 30 years or
Okay,
something
right,
something in that magnitude. No.
right.
But again, things keep on improving.
Well, that's it, and
Technology
it's
is
it's a
improving.
different perspective on it as well. Like if you're thinking about just hurling things into space and hoping that you can get what you can get done in whatever time frame you get, this changes all of that because
Yeah,
all of a sudden you're able to plan better. You can plan fuel, you can plan trajectories, you can have all sorts of different missions on these things. That's amazing.
exactly.
That is exciting. When can we look forward to that sort of stuff happening or that being put into law?
So the interesting thing is that, and again, I'm giving it just as an indication of what the regulator thinks.
Right, right.
So the law itself in the EU that is supposed to apply from 2030,
Oh wow. Okay.
but some specific sections around servicing only from 34.
Okay. All right.
So we still have some time. It will
Mm.
not happen tomorrow. Of course, there are companies that are, very focused on that effort.
Mm.
Um, Don Aerospace, other companies, there are different types of services. Of course,
Right.
we
Right.
focus on refueling, but
Mm.
yeah, there is
What are you
active debris
refueling with?
removal. There is like just changing the orbit if
Mm.
somebody needs to sort of push and they cannot maneuver on their own because their own system is not capable enough. There is a talk about
Wow.
recycling, like there repair all sorts of like many different things.
Mm. So
Yeah,
you could have satellites up there that could then help maneuver other satellites and stuff. Wow,
exactly.
that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
What when you say refueling, what are they generally using? Is it just like an aerosol of some sort, or does it need to be more than that for these?
No, so what we do is we work, well, we call it green propulsion. Why
Mm.
it's green? Because all the materials we use are non-toxic.
Oh, great.
So usually, traditionally in the industry, you use hydrazine.
Oh, okay.
And hydrazine is extremely toxic and extremely dangerous substance. Really not nice to deal with.
Yeah.
When you go on a launch, for instance, so on a rocket and you
Mm.
need to refuel that satellite, the person who's or fueling, sorry, not refueling,
Right.
when you fuel that satellite, the person doing that has to wear basically an astronaut suit
Mm.
because it's very toxic and sort of you cannot touch it, you cannot be in contact with that. It's super, super dangerous. It's
Mm.
very bad for the environment. And of course, it makes it awkward to operate with
Yeah.
because it's just a very bad
Right. Right.
substance.
Okay.
So, this is one option
Mm.
that has been traditionally the option.
Right.
What now we're seeing is that there are other alternatives. So,
Mm.
some of it is electric propulsion, which is
Mm.
good for like when you need something less capable, less, thrust power,
Right.
but for a very long time, for instance,
Mm.
that is more for that. And what we do is green propulsion, which is chemical.
Mm.
So you get very, like a very capable maneuverability
Mm.
system, very good if you need to maneuver like quickly and so on.
Mm.
Um, and we use nitrous oxide and
Oh.
propylene,
Oh wow. Okay. Right. Right. Right.
which you don't need to wear a whole spacesuit
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
to use it and so on. We do the testing and like we do the fueling at
Ah.
the launch sites, and it's much more easier to handle. It's much safer
Yeah.
for
So it's
people,
and
but it's
cheaper,
also
I'm
better
assuming
for
then,
the
right?
environment.
It's cheaper if you don't need all that time and expense of
It's
suiting
much
up as well.
cheaper. It's much cheaper too.
I love
Yes.
that. I love it when the
It's
green
not a rare
sustainable stuff.
material. It's not cobalt. It's not like something somebody
Yeah.
needs to. It's much easier. It makes much more sense. Yeah.
God, it's so nice when those things balance out, when you can be green and cheaper as opposed to, because usually the complaint, certainly in the film industry, is always about the expense of trying to be green. And the reality is, I mean, the water bottle is a perfect example where we used to have water bottles everywhere on set all the time. And now you just bring a big mug and they've got a big thing to fill them up. And of course, that also saves the money because they don't have to buy all these stupid plastic bottles that, just get tossed away. Um, okay. So this will see you through your career. Like this is stuff that you're going to be working on until you decide to just go and do gardening, basically. That sounds like there's a lot to do here, right?
Yeah, definitely. There is a lot to do. And I'm very active in that field for sure. Yeah, you never know. So I don't know if I will do that until I'm ready to just retire to the garden.
Right,
I don't
right.
know. But yeah,
But
if
there's
it
enough there to keep
if
you
it's
busy.
happening, that's also a good option. So yeah,
Right,
no
right, right,
complaints.
right, right. And are there any sort of things that have jumped out for you either before you got the regular gig at, is it, how do I say, is it Donair? What's the name of
Dawn
the company?
Aerospace.
Dawn Aerospace.
Dawn, like, Dawn
Right, 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 right.
Aerospace.
Long Aerospace. Okay. So before you got to them, Were there any things that just any sort of like cases that you just went or things that came up that you just went like, wow, I would not have
Yeah,
seen that coming.
there were so many exciting stuff. I can tell you that,
Yeah.
but I cannot talk about it.
Oh, of course you can't. Oh my God. Okay.
But yeah,
Wow.
I did some pretty awesome stuff. Definitely, I can tell you that.
Right.
I think also being present during that certain time and working a lot with launching satellites, that
Mm,
was super interesting. I learned so much from that.
mm,
So yeah, there were many very interesting things happening around that.
mm,
The technology, but also some, practicalities. Okay, how do you do that?
mm.
How do you make it happen?
How does it
Things.
work if a launch doesn't work? Like if a launch fails and
Mhm.
blows up and or sheds things all over the place. I
Yeah.
mean, is that who's responsible for that?
Ah, okay. If you really want to dive into that topic. Okay, so first of all, you have to understand that responsibility and liability in international law are two different subjects,
Oh, wow. Okay. All
which
right.
is already mind blowing because in
Yeah,
some
yeah.
languages you don't even have two different words for that.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's always pretty annoying to explain the difference
Right.
between the two to some sense. But
Yeah.
let's talk about liability because the problem there is actually the liability, right? Like
Right.
who would pay for that? Like
Right. Right.
what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So we have some pretty good industry practices
Mm.
around that. Um, Basically, anyone who's launching usually either needs to self-insure. So if it's a certain government, they would be sort of insuring themselves, which
Right.
means,
They'll cover the cost if something goes wrong, basically. But yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
And again, I mean the damage, right?
Right. Right.
Not the, let's say, recovery costs for the certain satellite that was destroyed. That's a tad more complicated,
Mm, mm.
but just in terms of the damage around
Right.
it.
I didn't even
If
think
you're
there
a
was another
private
angle on that
entity,
too.
you would just buy insurance against the launch failure.
Right. Okay. Which I'm guessing is pretty expensive because we're still not.
It's not cheap.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
It's not cheap, but it's not,
But
undoable.
it's cheaper than getting sued or having to repair stuff that you've.
I mean, obviously, it really depends on the case, what kind
Mm,
of failure, where, like at what stage it happened,
mm,
and so on.
mm,
So
mm.
it really depends on the case. But there are some very clever people in the space insurance industry. They have excellent formulas to calculate the risk, to
Really?
see
Wow.
what I've seen. They showed me once, and I was like, wow, that's a lot of
Wow.
numbers. Oh my God.
It's literally rocket science in order to do the rocket
Only it's
science.
not. It's like a financial tool
Yeah.
at the end of the day. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's very
I
almost
can't even
exact.
imagine how you'd work that out because you're trying to come up with probabilities on something that's never been done before in many cases. So you.
Well, they have statistics.
Right.
So,
Right.
like the probability that you would find insurance for a maiden flight for something which is like totally new is,
Mhm.
yeah, that would be difficult. That would be super super expensive.
Well, and
But
I guess you can
for the
prove.
most, they have very good statistics, right?
Mm,
Because, well, of course, if you take the Falcon with SpaceX,
yeah.
it went so many times,
Mm,
so they sort of know, what was the failure rate, and it was very, it's easy to
mm.
calculate that.
Well, and also, I mean, like having just visited ESA, I mean, the amount of research and testing that's done each element of it. I
Yeah,
suppose if you deliver that to an insurance company and said, like, look, here's where we're at with each component of this, and this is how it all comes together. That's going to help them with their with that as well. If they go like, look, they've been working on this for 5 years. Yes, something catastrophic could go wrong, but the reality is they've tested every element of it. I mean, that's otherwise, I guess they would.
of course, they,
You know,
again, they're very experienced, they do their due diligence,
yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah,
That's the science part.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it is science, definitely.
How
Yeah.
much of that do you? I mean, as someone in the law side of stuff, what is a day for you? Is it at a desk? Going over paperwork? Is it? Do you get to talk to people in the field? What do you get to
Yeah,
do in
yeah.
in this?
Okay, so obviously it really depends on what you do exactly and level of seniority and so on. But
Hmm.
at the stage of my career, thankfully, a big part of it is also talking to people
Mm.
and sort of expressing certain ideas
Mm.
about regulation, for instance.
Yeah.
So, and I think this is really interesting because um, I think people sometimes underestimate what a challenge it is to regulate something, let alone something totally new
Yeah.
with this really crazy industry behind it
Yeah.
that is so dynamic and everything, goes so fast.
Mm.
Um, and, but yeah, okay, you have to sort of lay some ground rules somehow,
Yeah.
but
Could start
you
somewhere.
want,
Yeah.
you want to keep it very safe on one
Mm.
hand, but you don't want to kill the business
Right.
the
Right.
other end.
Yeah.
So you have to balance these things like all the time.
Right.
And I think this is one of the things, yeah, I really love doing. Think together, saying, okay, well, what would be the best solution there? Is what we see now, what is proposed, is that the best we can do? Maybe we can tackle it from a different angle. Maybe we can find another solution which would be
Mm.
better and will sort of maximize the content around it.
Right. So
Yeah.
you're brainstorming with people about this stuff as well. Then that's got to be fun.
Yeah, definitely. It's fun and it's, sometimes it's a negotiation, but I don't necessarily consider it as a negotiation in the sense that, okay, well, I have a goal, I have to win.
Mm.
It's either somebody else's win and
Mm.
then I lose, or I win and then somebody else loses. So it's not like that. It's way more, nuanced, I would say. And
Mm.
well, when it comes to regulation, yeah, again, I'm not a regulator, right?
Right. Right.
I'm
Right.
the
Right.
industry, so I'm really like the
Mm.
receiver. Um,
So you won't deal with so you won't necessarily be talking to the regulators about this stuff, or is that sort of, it's out of your hands at that point, or do you actually have communication with them?
well, the thing is, I've been doing this for so many years, and I also have a certain academic background.
Right.
So I think I sort of earned a certain status now where everybody feels sort of comfortable to have a conversation and
Right.
say, okay, look, I've analyzed this. I think these parts are good. I
Mm.
think the other parts are going to be a bit too challenging for industry to
Right.
work with. Yeah.
So
And
you
then,
can liaise
then I ask,
between the
okay, what do
two.
you think about it? How do you see it? Why do you think
Hmm.
it's necessary to have this or not? And again, part of it is regulation, but a lot of it is also in the commercial domain. Now you
Mm.
have to imagine, David, like the launching so many satellites
Mm.
on one rocket, for instance, right?
Mm. Yeah. Well, because they can put a bunch of those CubeSats in one, can't they?
A lot, not
Yeah.
a bunch. Like you can put more than 100 even.
Really?
That happened. Yeah, I took
Oh.
care of one of these.
Oh my
But
God.
yeah, and that was a world record. And I think since then it was.
How do you sleep at night if you're worrying about 100 satellites?
We didn't sleep that night,
I'm sure.
honestly.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. A
we had a
100. Oh my
party, and
God.
no,
Was that some kind of a system that was all connected? They were all part of the same system, or are these just like?
no, just different small
Oh
satellites
my God.
from
Wow.
many different owners, basically.
Wow. Wow.
But these kind of things, you have to think someone needs to take care of that contractually somehow.
Mm.
Now, when we at a certain point, all the in-orbit servicing will happen. What
Mm-hmm.
kind of contract do you draft for that?
Wow. God, I
Right?
didn't think of
So
that.
that's a lot of sort of brainstorming, let's say. It's just thinking, yeah, that
Yeah,
I need
yeah.
to do sort of with myself and ask myself, okay, what am I worried that might happen? What
Mm.
is the big concern here? Um, how does it make sense to sort of, yeah,
Well, what happens when these companies
with
go?
the
What if the company goes
liability?
out of business? What if there's someone gets bought by someone else? I mean, there's just so many different angles on
So
that.
many different angles, indeed.
Wow.
So this part is also super interesting,
Mm.
and it's sort of commercial work, but
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's even more than that.
Is it a good business to be in? I mean, like is this like if someone is heading into law, is this an area that you go into for love and money, or is it just love, or is it just money, or what? I mean, like, what is how does it
Well,
sort of add up?
I don't know. Well,
Excuse me.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you can make yeah, maybe more money also in different, like in
Different areas.
software and
Yeah.
finance and whatever. I
Mm-hmm.
think honestly, again, from the place where I am now,
Mm-hmm.
I see it more as, it really depends how dedicated you are, how passionate you are, and really how good and how
Right.
skilled you are as a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
You can end up being extremely happy also doing something else
Yeah.
in some
Yeah.
other, area. It doesn't have to be space, of course.
Mm.
If you love space, if you want to walk, into an office and see satellites in a clean room,
Yeah.
sure, go for it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's not about space per se all day, every day, right? At
Right.
the end
Right.
of the day, there is a certain business and you have to
Mm.
take care of that business.
Right.
So
Right.
it's really commercial law. And then it depends, okay, how good you are as a
Mm.
commercial lawyer.
What would you say are skills? I mean, for someone, so let's say you're like I have a wonderful story about a kid with my tech in Tech Bandits. In Tech Bandits, we brought a bunch of spiders into school. They were Black
Okay.
Widow spiders, and
Okay.
we fired lasers at them so that you could hear. They're a laser vibrometer, so you could hear them. And the guy is a friend of mine. He's a a professor who deals specifically with this stuff, and so all safe and good. But they were Black Widow spiders, and one of these kids came up to me and said, "This is illegal."
Yeah.
And I said, "Is it?" I said, "Well, we should find out because if it's illegal, we should probably stop
Not
doing
do
it."
it. Yeah.
And so he went on Google and he looked it up and he came back to me. I thought that was like, ah, great, the kid's gone. Get him out of here now. It's. And then he came back after he said, actually, it turns out it's not illegal. It would be illegal if they were mice. And I was like, mice? Why
Yeah.
mice? And he's like, well, because apparently mice can get into the. Anyways. So, but I went, oh my God, this kid is a lawyer and he loves it. Like he just loves it. His first thought when he sees lasers and spiders is what is the legal ramifications of this? I was like, wow, that's fantastic. And another sort of insight into how do kids, where do these kids' inspirations come from? You just don't know. They could come from anywhere. What are the skills, would you say, what's necessary to be, let's just start with just law in general. What do you think are the sort of the key things that people could be looking for with something like that?
Wow. That's a very big question.
Sorry, yeah, it is a bit big.
Say.
Maybe just a few,
What it takes. Well,
Yeah.
I think that, yeah, you need to be super sensitive to details. Otherwise,
Okay.
it will not work.
Detail oriented. Okay, all right, that's good. That's good.
Super detail oriented to the point you become extremely annoying.
Okay, all
I
right.
would recommend that.
Okay, all right, very
Okay?
good.
That level of,
Right. Okay.
attention to details, right? This is why all these, when there is a job ad, it says attention to details,
Detail. Yeah. Yeah.
but it's true. You really need that.
And you always had that? Is that something that you felt you've always had?
I guess so.
Yeah. Okay.
I
All right.
guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't say, like, I can't put my finger on a moment where I thought, oh my God, I'm such
Mm.
I have so much attention to details. I should do
Hmm.
something with it. No, definitely not.
But that was definitely a part of your personality that was,
But I
yeah.
guess, or
Yeah. Okay.
maybe I developed that. I'm not even sure, but
Mm.
definitely that's super important because when you read, as like, you have a super long document, if not all the definitions are written, like, in the same way, and then everything is referenced in the same way it should be
Mm.
referenced, and you get to situations that, maybe something will be unclear
Mm.
because there was some sort of logic or pattern, call it whatever, and
Mm.
if that wasn't followed properly,
Right. How
you
would you
don't
find
have a
that?
good instrument anymore because
Yeah.
there's some ambiguity around it, and
Yeah.
the whole point is it needs to be, you know clear enough.
Yeah.
Let's say
Yeah.
not as
Interesting.
clear as possible, at least clear enough,
Mm,
so you will not have disputes. Because the problem is, if you have this ambiguity around the topic, and
mm,
it happens to be like a topic that, let's say, is worth a lot of money,
mm,
or something else, reputation, it can be many other things,
mm,
and you have two parties that for some reason see the same thing in a very different light, then you
mm.
have a dispute, and you don't want that,
Right. Right.
right? So I would say that attention to details, consistency, curiosity, I think,
Mm.
is also a part of it,
It seems to
honestly.
always be the key with everything, isn't it? Curiosity just seems
Yeah,
to come down. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, if you like it, obviously, yeah, it will be better for you as a
Right.
person.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
but I
Exactly.
think curiosity is also part of it, because you do need to ask yourself, okay, but why is this done this way?
Mm,
Where did that come from?
mm,
Like, what happened there? Oh, and did it ever happen that, there was a disagreement about a certain point? Oh,
mm,
I wonder how they solved it. Things
mm.
like that. So I would say curiosity is part of that too.
And what about classes? I mean, like, is it important? Is history important? Maths and sciences? I mean, how much of this is are things that need to be focused on?
Well, I think everything is important, honestly.
Right. Okay. Right. Right.
But I'm a person with a PhD, so
Right. Exactly. Yeah. 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 So
I
and
think
so.
everything that you can learn
Mm,
and enriches you is good for you, and it's important,
yeah.
because you get an opportunity to learn these things in a
Mm,
certain part of your life, usually when
mm,
you're expected to sort of learn it, so
mm,
you can do something with it later,
mm.
and provide for yourself, right? This
Right.
is how our society, in very general lines, work,
That's so
right?
funny. That's acting too. Acting is the same thing. In the film industry is just the more you know and the more experiences you have, the more you have to
Exactly.
bring to a
And if
project.
you
Yeah.
you know if you need to yeah, act and portray a certain character,
Mm,
and you happen to know something, yeah, maybe it's a scientist,
mm.
like, like what you did,
The
but
more
maybe
you
it's
know.
a
Yeah.
scientist, and then you know something about science, yeah,
Mm.
obviously you will probably do it better, and it
Right.
will look more authentic, right?
Yeah, this is well, all I'm doing is I'm just meeting as many scientists and science-related people as I can so that I become a better actor. But you're also an actor though, because here's the thing. We met
Yeah.
in Leiden and I didn't recognize you because you were like a civilian again. You have like you've got like I guess this is there like a do you have like a lawyer persona to some extent when you go out? Do you have a whole
A lawyer
exactly there
face.
you go. You've
Yeah.
done it. There you go. But do you find yourself like do you have to sort of, you know, present yourself differently?
Yeah, so again, I think I never intended, let's say,
Mm,
or yeah, I didn't have that in mind so much.
mm,
Um, but yeah, I guess when you negotiate, part of it is, how you look.
mm,
If
mm.
you say something and it needs to be authentic, well, does it look authentic?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
And but the thing we talked about when we met was that, again, for like the early years on my career, I
Mm,
felt like I have to put this like very serious lawyer
mm,
face,
mm,
and always like look a certain way,
mm,
and do certain things, because I was a very young woman
mm,
in a profession that, still, maybe if you're a young woman, yeah, you're not talented enough,
mm,
you don't really have authority,
mm,
maybe you're not assertive enough, maybe you don't know what you're doing,
mm.
some people were just maybe we're expecting to see someone else
Is
instead
it
of.
so it's still mainly male profession at this point?
Well, yeah, definitely.
Mm,
So I think the law part is better in the sense that you have more female lawyers, but
mm,
when you look at the industry and you look at the founders, for
mm,
instance,
mm,
who founds a private
mm,
space company,
mm,
and then who's the CEO,
mm.
who's the COO, you know,
Still all
you will
old white
find
guys. Yeah,
mostly men
yeah,
still. It
yeah.
doesn't mean that women are not there. They are there, but
Mm,
the ratio is totally, yeah. It's
mm.
definitely not a 50-50 situation.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Wow. And do you? I mean, do you find? Do you do any outreach for that? Are there any? Is there? Are you? Is there any way we can change that? I mean, what? I mean, this just seems like a fantastic job for anybody, male or female. But the fact that it's not, if you're feeling that there's not enough, if you're still an anomaly when you show up, that's not a great way to get into an
Well,
industry, is
again, I think it's much better than what it
it?
used to be.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's already good.
Mhm.
There are many nice groups of
Oh yeah.
women in the aerospace industry that I'm active in. I'm there,
Oh great. Yeah,
and that's
what are
great.
they?
Like we get together, we talk to each other, and it's very casual over a drink, or
Mhm.
sometimes it's not casual, it's like a conference or whatever.
Mhm.
But um, I think when you talk about outreach, I think, well, in some ways that's like the best way to do it,
Yeah.
because yeah,
Yeah.
you just meet people who are you know like you in the same industry and
Mhm.
trying to make it, probably younger people,
Mhm.
and you get to sort of give some advice and encourage a bit if needed. And I think
Mhm.
I've done it.
What are the organizations? What are they called?
So depending where you are in the world, there are actually many different ones.
Okay.
Yeah, some are more formally sort of incorporated, some are not very
Right.
formal, some are
Right.
just random huge WhatsApp groups.
Oh,
So
really? Oh, great.
you have
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And the thing is, again, as I said before, sometimes you refer to the space industry as a community,
Mhm.
especially with the newer things,
Mm.
the more entrepreneurial things. And this is also about a community.
Mm.
So I think that whatever you do, and it
Mm.
doesn't matter if it's space law or it's space science or it's
Mm.
not space related at all,
Mm.
if you look at yourself as a part of a certain community and you think, okay, how can you maybe contribute to that community?
Mm.
What can you do for others in the same community? Yeah, that's the best situation, right?
That's
Like
fantastic. Yeah.
you always have something good coming up from that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say, yeah, in that sense, I guess that's the best outreach you
That's
can do.
fantastic. Yeah. I mean, it does make sense. I mean, it's also it's more organic that way too. It's not sort of some formalized thing. It's just people getting together and sharing ideas and
Yeah, yeah.
oh,
I
that's
mean, I also
fantastic.
did projects where, like, if you see YouTube, there are all sorts of interviews with me, like for many, many years ago, 10 years, I think.
Mm.
Um, and that was like a very classic sort of outreach where
Right.
you're being interviewed and so on. So I did these things as well. But yeah, it's good to do whatever you can do, right?
Yeah, yeah. Look, if you've got time, I'd love to dive into the garden stuff. I'd also know that I can see it getting darker as we speak.
Exactly. I
So don't
can definitely turn the light.
want to
Maybe
hit the
that's
lights. All right, hit
a
the
good
perfect. Hit the
idea.
lights. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now this is great, but do let me know if you need to go because I know it's very kind of you to give this time to us anyways. So Um. So okay. So you're now. I look at your Instagram, which is fantastic, and everyone should follow that. I'll find a link.
Exactly. Please follow me. It's fun.
Yeah. What is it called? What's it called again? Just so we've got it.
Seeds in the City,
Seeds of the City. Done.
but with
And
an underline, so you can just
I'll
look
put it
with
up.
my name and you
Yeah.
find it. That's
I'll put
easy.
it up. In fact, I might even be able to just put a little title thing on it as well because
Oh, that
this is
would be
not live.
awesome.
This is going to go
Yeah, yeah,
live. There
yeah.
you go.
That would be awesome. Thanks.
And this is your is it a new passion for you this or is something you've been
No,
doing for a while?
no. I've been doing it for a long
Yeah,
while. I've also, I don't have any formal education
right,
in that field,
right.
right? Only law. But it's something I started again because I just wanted to have better food.
I liked it. It's because you wanted a better cucumber. That's
Yeah.
I like that as
Well, I just wanted a
your
nicer,
genesis story.
denser, smaller cucumber.
Right, right,
It
right.
really started from that.
Yeah, but it
Uh,
is the density, isn't it? There's something about
yeah,
the big
the
mass
huge
produced
ones are
ones.
very watery. They don't have
Yeah,
taste. It's not like the
yeah,
real
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So, I can tell you a story that it's because everything is sprayed and it's poisonous
Mm,
and I want
mm,
to eat only organic and so on. Well, yeah, now I realize that. But back
mm,
then, that wasn't even the big consideration. It was really
mm,
you know, taste
Mm,
and having the possibility to eat something fresh,
right.
and discovering how much better it is
Mm.
when it's fresh.
It does taste completely different, doesn't it? Yeah. There's a
Exactly.
weird tasteless quality to some of the stuff that a lot of the stuff we
Exactly.
get here, actually.
Yeah.
But there are
So
quite a lot of
it really
rules, though,
started
in
from that.
what was that?
So it really started from that.
Hmm.
Later on, I sort of realized the other benefits, which are, again, every time you go out to the garden, it's like a mindfulness exercise, right?
Yeah.
And every time you plant a seed, it's an act of faith.
Mm.
Really,
Wow.
it is. It
No,
is.
it is. No, that's I just never
It's
thought of
very
it that way.
spiritual in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then when you have a family and you get to show your kids where like food comes from,
Mm, mm,
it has even a better
mm.
value, because thankfully now my children know, yeah, where it
Yeah.
comes from,
And they have a
basically.
value. They can see the amount of work and effort and
Yeah,
time that it
yeah, yeah,
requires to do these things.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
of course you appreciate it more once
Mm,
you see how long it takes to get,
mm,
yeah, whatever it is, a carrot, a tomato,
mm.
whatever. You appreciate it much more,
Yeah.
definitely.
Absolutely, and and as I say, honestly, just from a selfish standpoint, the taste is just amazing to me. I mean,
Exactly.
Jane's really big on organic, and I mean, organic is a very loose term here. Like, I don't, I push back a bit on that a bit, where I'm just
Yeah,
like, well, no, I need to know where I want to know where it all comes from for sure.
exactly. Because it's not only like organic, okay, it's one thing.
Mm,
Also, when something is organic, it doesn't mean there was no, let's call it, intervention,
right, right,
right? It just
yeah,
means it's organically certified.
mm,
So maybe a certain material was used and another material wasn't, and
mm,
it's still or like acceptable as organic.
mm,
But so it's not 100% pure,
mm,
even when it's organic
mm.
sometimes. And then the question is it local? Where did it grow?
Right, yeah,
Right? How
mm,
many machines and emissions and so on,
mm, mm,
needed to be involved just so you can have an organic, yeah,
yeah,
whatever, avocado.
yeah,
So there are many questions around that too,
mm,
and I'm very happy that, again, at least for some parts of the year and for
mm,
certain things, I don't need to deal with all these questions, because
mm.
yeah, I just go out to the garden, pick an apple from my tree, and enjoy it as is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it? Yeah. It's just, well, I also feel a bit like I'm getting something for free. Like I feel like when I plant something and I grow it and then I can eat it, I'm like, "Oh my god, I didn't have,
definitely.
it's a
Well,
weird."
well, if you go to Instagram, you have so many reels of
Yeah.
people making fun of that point, because like, oh wow, you just bought a greenhouse which cost
Mm.
like, I
I
don't know,
know.
5,000 euros, but
Yeah.
you got free tomatoes.
Yeah.
Like, well,
Do you have
no.
a greenhouse? Do you do greenhouse stuff?
I have a very, very tiny
Mm,
greenhouse. So it's
mm,
not a proper size greenhouse, not
mm,
even a proper size for a hobby greenhouse. It's something
mm.
very, very, very small.
Right, right.
But it's better than, not having it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And the garden is also not big. So, it is what it is. And I try to make the most of the space I have. And I
Right.
also, I live in Leiden, it's a city.
Mm.
Um, I don't own a farm. I don't live in a village somewhere,
Right, right,
right? So it's really about maximizing whatever you have and
right.
making the most of it. I grow on the balcony for many, many years.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
always fun. Like, you do what you can.
Do you grow inside as well? Do you do any inside stuff?
Well, because of the weather in the Netherlands, you sort of have to. You
Yeah,
have to
us
at
too.
least start certain things. Like
Yeah.
if you would want to start tomatoes and so on, you would
Mm.
have to do it indoors.
Yeah, yeah, same for us.
Otherwise, you'll be too late. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, yeah, it's the timing on that is amazing, that stuff. But,
Yeah.
and oh my god, you get some nice when you get those, what are they, god, what do they call the tomatoes? The
The
old tomato
beefsteak tomatoes, or like
no,
the chubby one?
the heirloom tomatoes.
Heirloom tomatoes.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
wow, there's some amazing stuff there. Okay, so it's and how much of it like, how much of this is this to get a taste of things, or is this actually providing enough food on a regular basis for the family?
So this is more a matter of choice,
Right.
because I think that even if you have a smaller space,
Mm,
you can, choose very strategically what you
Right.
want to do with it, and it
Mm,
depends on your goal. So
mm.
maybe your goal is, just to have fun and grow all sorts of funky looking tomatoes and with weird names and weird colors. And people
That's
have
where
like
I'm at. Yeah.
chili
Yeah.
peppers. They grow all sorts of crazy chili peppers and it's so spicy. And I'm like, are you going to eat it? Seriously, what
Yeah.
is this?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's fine,
Mm,
right? But for instance, this year, we had a very good year,
mm.
and I wanted a lot of pumpkin.
Oh, really? Okay.
Why? I don't know. I just decided I want to grow as many pumpkins as I can get
Fair
and
enough.
just eat them throughout the winter and be
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
And that went very well this year. So
How
I
big? How big a pumpkin did you get? What'd you get?
very, very big,
Really?
like 10 kilos, like
Oh,
big, big,
and
big,
what are you feeding these things?
nothing.
Just literally
No,
just plant them in the
just
ground?
compost and water. That's it.
Wow.
No
Wow.
fertilizers, no nothing. I don't do
Wow.
that. Yeah,
Wow.
because I
See, the
want to
funny
get.
thing about pumpkins is the only thing I like in pumpkins is the pumpkin seeds.
Really, you don't like pumpkin soup or
Don't like
no,
well,
no.
well, sometimes the pumpkin soup. I guess I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, pumpkin soup, I guess. I just pumpkin to me always reminds me of like that horrible Thanksgiving pie with the little, the burnt crust and a little bit of this sort of
No, no. So I use it differently.
yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just an example of something very good, very low
Mm.
maintenance, and also
Providing huge amounts of food.
huge amounts of food.
Yeah.
You don't need to preserve it a very certain way to enjoy it
Mhm.
later.
Mhm.
If you know how to harvest it properly and how to keep it, it just keeps
Mm.
until next year. So
Hmm.
I think that's like amazing, and I grew so much of it this year. So we'll be having a lot of pumpkin soup.
Do you
All
save the
over.
seeds and then replant next year with the same
Yeah,
seeds and
of
stuff?
course,
Yeah,
of
that's
course.
the other thing that I just find. I don't know why. That's like a hack to me. It feels like
That's
some kind of a cyclical. Yeah, amazing.
yeah,
The other thing I started looking into was cloning, plant cloning, where you do tissue sample and you grow it in a petri dish, and then you can have multiple. But that's more for weird things like I like the Venus flytraps and the weird sort of carnivorous.
yeah. That's cool as well. And
Yeah.
again, there are so many ways, and when you get into that, you know, you
Mm.
learn so much, and you see, yeah, you can propagate things in so many different ways
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
It's
you can just plant a seed of a tomato and it will grow, but you can also take a cutting from one of the side shoots, put it in either directly in the ground or in water, and it will just root.
yeah.
And
It's
you'll get a
amazing,
new
isn't
plant.
it?
It's like crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, the organic side of stuff. It's so funny because I grew up and I definitely felt like my love was for the technology, for for the
mhm,
the electrons and the chips and all that silicone side of stuff. And as I've got older, I'm sort of beginning to come around to the whole bio side of it because I just this stuff is like it's so far advanced beyond anything we've made.
yeah,
What our planet is capable of producing is extraordinary, you
yeah,
know.
exactly. And
Um,
you do feel like once you sort of understand it and take it
mm,
in a certain way, I think you also have a better feeling of connection
yeah, yeah, yeah.
as
It's
a
funny, isn't
person
it?
to sort of where you are and
Mm,
what's your place in the world.
yeah,
Yeah, I really love it. Yeah,
it's the other one the other one that got me is my grandfather raised bees, had hives all over his. He had a place in Kent, and that always to me that's something I dream of doing. Like I gotta get a pig and a tractor and a couple of beehives, and I'm a happy man. Plant some stuff. I think that's where I'm headed.
yeah.
Do you see
And
yourself going further into this? I mean, is this something do you find yourself being drawn into maybe the law side of sustainable foods and stuff, or
well, I think not really at this stage.
mm,
I do it because I enjoy doing
to
it.
get away from the law?
Exactly, to not to get away, because yeah, I don't need to get away, but
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is like a nice thing to do
yeah.
that, and they sort of balance each other. So I really enjoy it, and
Mm,
if I make that into work,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might ruin it
You
a
could
bit.
ruin it. It's true. It's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
And
Acting
again,
is a
they do so like many interesting things at work. So
yeah. Yeah.
why not just keep it the way it is?
No, very smart, very smart. I have a tendency to sort of go like, how can you upscale this? And of course,
Yeah, no, it's a tendency, I think, especially of also the generations we have
mm,
now.
mm,
You go on Instagram, like all these reels that you see
mm.
of, okay, oh my God, you like baking? Open a micro bakery.
Yeah, yeah,
It's super easy. You'll get
mm,
tons of money. Why not do it? You
yeah,
can
yeah.
be at home and
I
like bake
know.
twice a week and you'll be a millionaire. And like you see all these things
Yeah,
and you're like, okay, well,
it's a plus and a minus. I mean, I definitely feel like we can. Like when I went to a science fair and talked to a bunch of the kids who were at the science fair. This is a big Canadian one. It was the top, the top projects from around Canada. All of them, all of them said I said, "How did you get it? How did you do this?" And they said, "Well, I watched a YouTube video and then I contacted the person in the video." And that was how they got started on all this stuff. And they're doing everything from cancer treatments to water treatments to hydroponics to all sorts of stuff. And there's these are anywhere from 10 to 14-year-old kids. I mean, but they're getting it from YouTube. So I see the value of
yeah,
of
definitely.
as an
There is a
educational source.
value, but there
Mm,
is specific content that I
yeah,
see on Instagram mostly that sort
yeah,
of pushes you to make it
a business.
your livelihood.
Mm,
Yeah, your business,
wow.
yeah, it's
And
not
then they can sell you all the things you need to make that business
yeah,
possible.
exactly. And then
Yeah.
they would tell you something,
Yeah.
so it will be very easy.
Mm,
So yeah, so that's why maybe I also when I think about it, that comes into mind, and I
right.
think like, okay, well, but not everyone who likes to bake sourdough
Wants to
bread.
start a bakery.
I
Yeah.
do that too. Have
Yeah.
to
I
start.
the sourdough. Oh my god, I got into that.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
I
know.
love that.
That's a whole. That's also a thing. I know.
Oh.
I know. I
Well,
know.
and the science behind that too, just the idea that
It's
these little
amazing. It's
oh,
just flour and water,
I know.
and it's mind blowing. I know.
I
I
yeah,
know.
I that stuff. Yeah, I mean, this is it. I mean, this is a. I think this is again where the curiosity comes in, right? This is where I just think you can find so much joy in life if you delve into it. If you look into how does that work? One of the
Yeah.
things I found in the Netherlands, which apparently is not normal, but every time I stopped and looked at a building or something and went like, "What is that?" Someone would stop and tell me about it. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Um, and the thing I noticed again that I was there was what you've just basically voiced in what you're doing is this wonderful balance between work and life, and how they're not cut off from each other, but they just I almost feel like in certainly in the Netherlands from what I saw, it was almost flipped on its head from where it is here, where it tends to be work, and then you go somewhere to relax, like you have to sort of like retreat to have your me time. Whereas there's this wonderful, just sort of mix of the two. I thought, wonderful
Well, again,
combination.
that's. I think it is much better
Mm,
compared to other places for
mm.
sure.
Certainly,
But
North America.
yes, for sure. But
Yeah.
what you're describing is also a bit. Yeah, it's maybe too pink because at the end of the day, um, well, it's about making a choice, right?
Mhm,
So I have many friends who I just know from the neighborhood, for instance, and so
mm,
on.
mm.
Um, and they don't work,
Huh.
or they work very like part time,
Right. Infrequently. Right. Okay.
right? And usually, again, it's the women that do that.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes, yeah, I mean, you sometimes you think, okay, it's great. Other times, you see reality is slightly different.
Right. Right. So
And I'm
maybe
not
not.
saying it's wrong not to work or work part time when
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
raise children or not raise children, or
Mm,
anyone can do whatever, that's fine.
yeah.
But that sort of work life balance, sometimes it's there in
Mm.
certain jobs in this country,
Yeah.
definitely.
That's true. Yeah.
But again, when you're a senior person at a startup,
Mm.
um, it looks
That's
different as well
yeah. It's
because
probably not as much of a balance
you
there, really, is
either
there?
make it happen or you don't.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you relax too much, then yeah, maybe you're
Yeah.
not productive enough. So
I
I
know.
think, yeah, that's also super nuanced. But of
Mm.
course, just having different options,
Mm.
having the possibility
Mm.
here and under like Dutch culture, that's already something that
Mm,
I guess does not exist in many other places. So
mm, mm.
definitely we can acknowledge that is a good thing.
Right. Are you growing tulips?
Choice. Of course.
Okay, you kind of got it, don't you?
Of
Right?
course.
You know, you
Of
got to get
course.
the black tulips. Wasn't that the big bubble in the stock market many,
Well,
many years?
yeah, I don't do black this year. I'm very
Yeah.
serious about my flowers. So,
Oh,
well,
really?
you would think, yeah, I
Yeah.
am very serious about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I actually I start with having this color palette.
Really? Oh
I
my God.
define it, and only then I pick my bulbs according
Oh
to
my
that.
God.
Because,
Come on, that's the lawyer in you right there.
well, you want it to look a certain way in the spring. So, if you're a serious person, you
Look,
plan for it.
I am Jane. You've met Jane.
Yeah.
Jane is very similar in that I feel like it's like she loves nature as long as it's alphabetized the way she likes it.
No, well, it's not that bad for me.
No,
No,
no, it's not
definitely
that.
not. But if you want to grow flowers just for the flowers and make
Mm,
bouquet and pick them later, then yeah, definitely I like to
mm.
plan it ahead and like see what kind of
Right.
colors I want. And
That's fantastic.
yeah.
So I just don't have that guy. I have two settings. I have now and that's it. And then I'm confused. So, Neta, look, thank you so much for this. Is there anything you wanted to touch on? Anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, I think we're good. I think we covered
Oh my
so
God.
many different things,
I
right?
know I could talk to you for days. This is fantastic.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this. How do people get in touch with you? What's the best way? If or do you not want them to get in touch with you? I mean,
fun. Thank you,
how do
David.
you generally
Well, if we put my Instagram thing somewhere
perfect?
below,
Yep,
maybe.
done.
Yeah, that's easy.
I like that you've done the point. Now I have to put something there. That's great. That's pretty good. Yeah. Nice, nice. Um, fantastic. Well, thank you so much, and please, send my love to your fabulous husband as well.
I
It was
will.
lovely
I
time. We got to
will.
talk to him sometime as well.
Well,
So,
yes, you
yeah,
need it. It's super interesting
yeah,
what he does,
yeah.
and he can probably comment on Instagram much better than me. So
Oh, is it? Oh, because he does a lot more of that, doesn't he?
he
That's
does
right,
that.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, look, it was absolutely fabulous talking to you, and I'm thank you for. I apologize again for the late start,
No,
um, but
that's
what a fantastic chat. Thank you so much, and I'll let you know as soon as it's posted. So,
cool.
and I will say my little wrap up as I always
Yeah,
do.
and like, yeah, if you come again next year, let me know.
Oh, I'm dying to. Are you kidding? I want to come with a camera and do this, but live with people.
Yeah, sure.
Like sit down and actually be able to have like a coffee and chat and
Yeah, yeah.
and see a canal in the background or a
It's
satellite or
awesome. I
something.
can like, I can take you to work, and then I can take you to my garden.
Fantastic. Perfect. Well, see, there you go. Then it's an experience for people. That's fantastic. All right. I'm taking you up on that for sure.
Okay. Okay.
Neta, thank you so much. I will say to everyone, if you've got any questions, let me know and I will pass them along and maybe we can convince Neta to come back and we could do like a Q&A version of this.
Awesome.
You can answer some of the stuff that comes up. So in the meantime, be brave, be kind, be brilliant, cheerio, and huzzah. Thanks much. And that would be it.